Okay. What do you do when a broadcaster says, we want to make a documentary about you? Impulse says, yes, of course. Instinct says, what's the catch? My team runs the press office for Twycross Zoo, also known as the East Midlands Zoological Society, and that's the dilemma we faced when we were approached by an independent documentary film company who wanted to tell the story of the Tea Chimps. Many of you may recall, if you're old enough, the PG Tips Tea Chimps. Not many will know that they came from Twycross Zoo. Twycross Zoo was founded by Molly Badham and Natalie Evans, rival pet shop owners in Sutton Coldfield, who went on to... Oh, it's not working. Oh, there they are, who went on to become business partners and lifelong friends. They were renowned as early pioneers of primate conservation, but their approach to animal welfare and animal care with modern sensibilities. As this picture shows, it was very much hands-on. Twycross Zoo opened its doors in 1963, where it quickly became renowned for its keeping exotic species, in particular primates. And over the years, the zoo has broke ground with breeding successes and developing animal management practices. And Molly Badham became a world-recognised expert on primates, alongside people like Jane Goodall and Jane Fossey, but perhaps less well known to some of you. Twycross is now renowned as a World Primate Centre. It's the only zoo in the UK to have all 4 species of great apes: gorillas, orangutans, chimps and bonobos. However, despite the zoo's popularity, animal care and zoo maintenance costs soon spiralled, and Molly and Natalie were on the lookout for ways in which they could find lucrative partnership opportunities. And when an approach came from Brook Bond Tea Company for the zoo's chimpanzees to star in television advertising, they seized the opportunity and spawning the world-famous PG Tips adverts. From the 1950s to the late 1970s, Molly's chimps starred in an array of adverts that truly at the time warmed the heart of the nation. Brook Bond's sales of tea soared, with many a customer requesting monkey tea from their local grocer. And for the zoo, the visitors flocked to see the stars of the show. However, the adverts required intense training and showed the extent of the chimps' dexterity and formidable intelligence, using props, riding bicycles, attending tea parties, playing musical instruments, wearing hats, wigs and clothing. However, with each advert required more and more from the chimpanzees, and Molly became wary of the humanisation of chimps was having on their animals. The chimps that were involved were all young juveniles, keen to learn and play, but with growing maturity, adult chimpanzees are immensely strong and dangerous animals, and beyond the age of 5 were too volatile and unsuitable for filming, and were retired to a life behind glass. Staff at the zoo also began to notice that these humanised chimpanzees were struggling to adapt to a new life away from the cameras in their enclosures, and it meant that their behaviour wasn't allowing them to fit in with the chimps that hadn't been in front of the camera. And realising that behavioural impact and the training and exposure to human life was having on them, they pulled the plug on the PG Tips ads. Twycross Zoos have not been used for 40 years in any of this in TV advertising. And in fact, now it's brought about a whole different thing. We're using the knowledge from the advertising era. The zoo's now a pioneer in resocialising the primates that have been brought up as domestic pets. So what do you do when a TV company comes in and offers you the chance of an opportunity of primetime TV slot documenting the PG Tips adverts? To bypass involvement means that the story could be mistold, resulting in reputational damage. But to be involved is to open a skeleton's cupboard for the zoo, a part of its past which is no longer considered acceptable in modern-day animal welfare practice. Zoos remain a polarising subject amongst the public, and the resocialising of chimps is far from easy. And so in this particular picture, dedicated teams of animal trainers and experts in chimpanzee behaviour have painstakingly taught the chimpanzees to be chimps again. I'm just going to show you basically the picture here. On the left is choppers, and you can see, I just want to point 2 things out. So this is about entertainment, and the middle picture shows veterinary skills. So basically, Twycross, in fact, chose to become involved in the making of Channel 5's Secrets of the Tea Chimps. An hour-long documentary aired in January 2015, exposing the making of the adverts and what happened to the chimpanzees after the cameras stopped rolling. Choppers is now aged 44, and she remains one of the zoo's last chimpanzees to feature in the adverts, a living, breathing legacy of the zoo's involvement. Her reintegration to chimpanzee society has been slow but successful, and she lives among a bonded chimpanzee group at Twycross Zoo, once again familiar with the rituals of grooming and social hierarchy. And going back to my theme of enrichment and veterinary care, you can see that things are very different at the zoo today. The documentary was carefully managed in a way that would honour the zoo's founders and the past and recall the nostalgia of the infamous adverts, while fully recognising that the practice of the zoo's animals' use in television adverts was of its time and no longer acceptable. So in conclusion, the decision to make the documentary, we think, was the right one, resulting in a balanced programme and a platform for lots of associated media coverage. And as Twycross Zoo embarks on a 20-year, £55 million master plan redevelopment, we feel that the change is on the horizon and things looking good. But it's a very different era, and it would be a discussion that would be interesting to have because, as I said before, it is a polarising issue, but it's a question about whether you bury or live with your past. Thank you.
Thank you very much.